Martin Luther King, has that played a role in your thinking or the evolution of your thinking? And if so, how?
The question is, has faith played a role in the evolution of your thinking?
Say that again.
Has faith played a role in the evolution of your thinking? It was important to Martin and Malcolm.
I'm not getting it. I'm very hard of hearing.
So has faith played a role in the evolution of your thinking, the way it did for Martin and Malcolm?
I think when people talk about faith, they're probably thinking in terms of religion. And I think there's a huge difference between religion and faith. Religion turns out to be support belief in an ideology. It leads to a whole lot of struggle with other people. I think faith is very different. Faith is something that sees opportunity in crisis. Faith is something that believes in your own capacity and the capacity of others. It does not mean a whole lot of argument. I mean, religion means a lot of argument, and you're trying to convince people all the damn time. So I'm not a religious person, though the first $2 I made, I put in the church collection. And I used to sing hymns because I loved them. And I went to church, and I memorized passages from the Bible, and I got a little diamond for each one. And I had diamonds that reached from my shoulder down to my toes. And there's great beauty in some of the passages from religions. And words mean a lot. I'm not saying we shouldn't quarrel around words. But I think it's more interesting, more important that we should talk with one another, that we have conversations, that we don't hesitate to say you're wrong and I don't agree with you, but that we use conversation as a means toward cooperation. And it can be, and we can each go forth from this meeting, from this movie, and start conversations, and I hope you will, with your family, with your friends, with your workmates, because this is a time for us to talk with one another and get to think alike, or not alike.
Her question. Go ahead, right there in the corner.
I don't agree with you on one thing, Grace, and that's when you said that young Asian Americans are drawn to you as sort of an icon. They're so hungry for an Asian American icon. But I think that the participation in coalition of Asian Americans from 100 years ago, like the South Asian auto workers in Detroit who were drawn to the Marcus Garvey movement, and Ho Chi Minh and Harlem also drawn to the Marcus Garvey movement. So that kind of history, I think that history of coalition has been something that young Asian Americans, see that in you, and they're kind of interested in exploring, that century of participation, century of coalition. That's more of a statement, I guess. Sorry.
That sounds like a good one for the end of the hallway.
Okay, sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's a good one.
I can hear it.
She disagrees that you're not an Asian American icon because there have been lots of coalition building with, for example, Southeast Asian workers in Detroit. I'm not doing justice to her statement. And Harlem. She just wanted to say you're part of a long history.
I don't get it.
I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, look, so many. And don't worry, we'll talk more. Go ahead, right there in the purple.
How do you balance the need for conversation and deliberation with the need for action, and how has that evolved for you?
Gary?
How do you balance the need for conversation and deliberation with the need for action?
How has that evolved?
And how has that evolved?
I think that most people who are concerned with action, and I think action is important, are convinced that militancy and mass participation can make changes. And I am very skeptical of getting out there and rabble-rousing. I'm not a good rabble-rouser. I'm not a good street corner speaker. Because I think that there is a kind of narrow concept of human beings that goes into organizing protest actions. I don't think we appeal enough to the capacity of each of us to do thinking, to think. I think we tend to believe that hope comes from mass protests. And I think that mass protests also tends to increase the sense that the society wants to instill in us that we are victims. We are not victims, or we don't have to be victims. We have to define ourselves as visionaries, as creators of a new world, and not just as victims of the system. It's too easy to fall into that trap. It happens. Not only happens in politics, it happens in the relationships between people. I think it happens in every sphere of society, whether you're working in a plant, or whether you're in a school situation, or whether you're in an abusive male-female family situation. You can decide to find yourself as a victim, or you can say, I am the master or mistress of my fate.
That is a lovely place to pause, not end. Here's what we're gonna do. First of all, you can keep the conversation going by reaching out to Grace